Hello everyone, Inklander here, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing queer-coded Skylanders. So we're going to be talking about all the Skylanders that kind of are coded in the universe, in the games, or maybe in the comics or in the TV show, in any way that we kind of perceive them to be part of the LGBT community, just based on either their designs, their color schemes, or their personality, anything kind of like that. Joining me today is GFDitto and Saint Lesbian. So, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And yeah, let's go ahead and dive on into things. So, Saint Lesbian, let's go ahead and start off with you. Who is one character that you kind of perceive as queer coded in Skylanders?
I mean, Whirlwind's a pretty obvious option. The whole shooting rainbows thing does automatically lend itself towards oh, gay lesbian. And I think in her backstory it specifically mentions how she was like an outcast because everybody else was like jealous of her or something. And outcast characters can often be queer coded, like the
Oh yeah,
vibes.
yeah, very true. And I absolutely have to agree. Like, the rainbow thing definitely just kind of screams, like, LGBT to me. Like, you can't. It's a rainbow. You can't get more gay than that, right?
Yeah.
And you've also done some whirlwind artwork as well.
Oh yeah, my Whirlwind Pride art. That was fun. That was a fun stream to draw that for.
Yeah. So, Ditto, what about you? Who is the character that you perceive as queer coded in Skylanders?
Well, the first one that comes to mind for me would be Mysticat.
Hmm.
Mysticat has a very, I would say, androgynous design, where it's not. They really don't seem to be gender coded one way or the other. It's somewhere in the middle. That and technically specified as a male character, the fact that it was actually voiced by a female voice actor kind of lends to that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
absolutely.
definitely agree. Yeah, like, definitely there's something in his design. It's like there's all the purples, and then like he's also very kind of like the shapes that are used on the figure are very like, I don't know, like gives him more of a male kind of look. But like then he also has the female voice actors, so they definitely did a good job of making the character a little bit more ambiguous. And while his backstory does use like male pronouns, like I could see him being like gender fluid potentially.
Oh yeah.
I would say at the very least gender nonconforming.
Yeah, GNC. And I think the cat, like the catty nature that he's got, especially in all of his catchphrases, really adds to it. I don't know, there's something about like catty that really ends up being queer coded. He has the non-binary color scheme. Like there's the big purple in all of him, but also he's got like gold accents, black clothing, and like occasional white beams. Like that's all the colors right there. That's the whole non-binary flag.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Ditto. I think there's something up with Mysticat, like whether like, gender non-conforming or genderqueer or non-binary or gender fluid, there's definitely something going on there.
This cat is so gender.
So I'd say that one Skylander that I kind of perceive as queer coded is Hex. Like, she just, and know what, we can go ahead and throw in Roller Brawl here too. They're both undead Skylanders. They both give me very similar kind of vibes. There's just something that almost like Hex and Roller Brawl both kind of remind me of like the Hex girls from Scooby-Doo a little bit,
Mhm.
like, who also are very like LGBT coded. Like, there's just something in media where it's like, we see this in Buffy the Vampire Slayer too, with like Willow and Tara. Like, whenever like witchcraft is involved, or like some sort of like magic, or like the undead, or something like that, like it almost always is like coded to like lesbians.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I'd say that they're lesbian coded in like different directions. Like there is the like main witchcraft thing overall, but I do feel like Roller Brawl's tomboyish nature versus like Hex's high femme nature kind of contrast against each other in terms of like lesbian directions.
I definitely perceive that. But I mean, I guess you could also in that way, like if we want to bring in like I guess more like tomboy-esque nature, then we could talk about like Headrush as well.
Yeah, Headrush is just being a heavier set, stronger woman does give off like that powerful butch lesbian vibe. Like
Yeah,
she's a bit
absolutely.
butcher than Roller Brawl, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And another one that I also think has those same vibes that I know is one of Ditto's favorites, and my favorite too, is Barbella.
Oh, absolutely. That short
Yeah,
hair, she's so strong.
yeah. Like she definitely feels like queer coded to me. What about you, Ditto?
I actually never really got a vibe from Barbella. I mean, I could see it. I could definitely see it. I just never got the vibe.
Interesting. All right. And, you know, to me, Torch also has that same kind of vibe as well. Like, maybe not as much as Barbella and Headrush, but it definitely kind of feels there. Like, it's very, like, inventory, steampunk-esque. And that in the same kind of vein feels, like, in the same category as, like, queer-coded to me. Another character I think is queer-coded in the Skylanders universe is Splat.
I mean, Splat's whole thing with like, I think earlier on in her design phase, she was like more black oriented. But when they started introducing color and rainbows into her design, it's like, oh, that's already gonna be like major gay vibe. But also like gay and artist, because a lot of gay people do happen to be artists in some way, shape, or form. And this, like, her artistic expression could also be another, like, feeding into her gay expression as well.
Yeah, and while, like, you know, none of these characters are, like, specifically, like, you know, in the lore, like, said to be, like, LGBT, like, there's definitely, like, some vibes that you're able to get off of them, and I definitely think Splat is one of those that definitely feels, especially because of her color palette and everything, very similarly to, like, Whirlwind, although Whirlwind's maybe a little bit more upfront. Like, Splat, yeah, like, definitely I get the same kind of feeling off of Splat. Yeah, another character that I think is, like, definitely queer-coded is Golden Queen, and we can kind of also talk a little bit about the villains as well.
Yeah, the female villains in this series are very, like,
Yeah, very, like, sometimes have very, like, Disney villain vibes, like Mesmeralda.
the whole, like, high femme, dressy look that she's got going on, combined with the evil, like, yeah.
Yeah, like she has like the Disney villain attitude, and like Disney villains are definitely like queer coded.
It's a song.
Like, yeah, like there's also the like song, the like very like Disney villain-esque song that happens during the boss fight. That just makes those like similarities just like a little too hard to ignore with Mesmeralda. So yeah, I can definitely see that. But meanwhile, Golden Queen, another like very big, famous Skylanders villain, also has like queer coding as well, but just in a different direction than Mesmeralda.
Yeah, it's something about like a powerful woman, I think, powerful independent woman that gives off that gay vibe in the end. Also, I lean into that because my little sister really was like, oh yeah, she gives off a butch lesbian vibe. And it's like, what? And now I can't not see that.
Yeah, no, I totally see where that's coming from, though. You know, like, she definitely has that, like, strong, powerful, like, female kind of vibe. And it's really cool because, like, I do think that the Skylanders games had a sexism problem. Generally, because like there's so many more male characters than female characters, something that we actually discuss on an episode of Portalcasters. But yeah, like whenever they do tend to have like a female character, like the whole like strong powerful female character thing almost feels like it hits more queer.
Yeah.
because it's like, oh great, you're actually like doing something different. Like it's not just like another male character here, which is nice. Ditto, do you have another character that you would like to bring up?
I do have one more, yes, actually, and that would be Sprocket.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about Sprocket. But
Sprocket strikes me as a very aromantic character.
Okay. Yeah.
I just get the vibes from her that her work is her love, and
True.
like her machines, her inventions, those are her love, and she's not going to give up any of that love or that time to somebody else.
Gotcha. Yeah, and like I could definitely see like a lesbian vibe off of like Sprocket too. But honestly, like knowing how Sprocket also acts in like the TV show, I can definitely see like the asexual / like aromantic thing that you're talking about, because she is like so like focused in on her work.
Her entire personality is her creations.
Yeah. Like I can see that. That definitely fits.
Although now that you mention Sprocket, I'm really getting like trans girl vibes off of it. Maybe it's because of the like women in STEM vibes that she's got already going, but the fact that she's like so tech oriented, that she's an inventor, there's lots of trans girls out there that are into like inventions and coding. She fits right in there.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. So actually, Sprocket could work in like a number of different ways. Now, also kind of going off of the like women and STEM vibes thing, we also have Gearshift, who you could also kind of fit there. Gearshift also has that kind of almost inventor kind of personality, but like not because she doesn't invent anything, but she does have that gear that she's able to use in like so many different ways that feels inventive, and she's also tech, so I think it fits a lot.
Yeah. And
going back to the villains again, another one that we probably should bring up is Chaos's mom.
Chaos's dad is never mentioned. It's just Chaos's mom out there, and she's very I don't know, she gives off a Cruella feel.
Also in the TV show, her and Golden Queen are like they have the like they're like friends, you know, like there's that like one scene in season 1 where they're like hanging out talking in like the castle. So, you know,
best friend.
But then again, in the series, Chaos also had a dad.
Here's his
True.
dad.
Eon. Spoilers.
Well,
What?
Actually, I had forgotten about that bit. I was thinking of Strikor.
Strikor? Well, he thinks it's Strikor, but really it's revealed to be Eon in the final episode.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Wow.
Jet-Vac.
You is he?
Jet-Vac's a trans man.
Ooh.
Ooh,
In Skylanders Academy, he literally lays eggs.
Oh, true.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Yo. Canon.
Yep. Confirmed.
Let's
Done.
go. Like, I know they did that as a joke, but like, anytime you got a male bird or male character that lays eggs, automatic trans man.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, either he's trans or he's intersex.
Yeah, there we go.
We got a canon one, baby.
Yep, canon. Wow, didn't even think about that, but that's like so true.
And I love that I spotted this because, you know, Jet-Vac is such a lovable character. His personality, his, you know, even just his style of action in the game. He's a lot of fun, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with. He's also a disabled elder Skylander.
Yeah, like, I actually, like, now that, like, we also, like, already I like Jet-Vac a lot because, like, he, is very, like, you know, he's lost his wings, but he's still kicking butt, you know? Like, I love that about his character so much. So already he's awesome, but now, like, queer-coded, confirmed, let's go.
Right.
Yeah, baby.
Like, great. And he's so fun. Like, he has such a good personality, and he's one of the, like, voice actors that like transferred from the games to the show, and like the person that does Jet-Vac just does him so well.
Right.
So I love that. love it
He's
so much.
just a lovable character to be around. I didn't even mind when he spent, 30 to 40 minutes complaining about his lunch being stolen. Heck, I actually really enjoyed that bit because it gave him a little more personality.
Yeah, he's great. Such a good character. And there might be, like, characters that, like, we don't mention that people might get, like, queer vibes off of as well. So, like, there's also a possibility that someone else's list on here might be completely different, and there's a character that we don't mention. So that's possible. Because, like, so long as the character speaks to you, and, like, if you interpret the character that way, and if that's, like, empowering to you, then, like, epic. Good.
Yeah.
The only other one I had written down on here that I can see is Glumshanks.
Oh, Glumshanks. Sweet, devoted little Glumshanks.
Oh yeah, like I can definitely kind of see that, because like no matter what, like he just keeps going back to chaos. No matter what.
That's your one friend in the world.
Which, I mean, granted, like he also does hang out with like Chaos's mom a lot too. So in the like TV show. So I can definitely kind of see like some LGBT vibes off of him too. Like it just kind of feels like, the gay characters flocking together there in that instance. So, which granted, I mean, technically also Chaos's mom does kind of seem like she almost sparks like a romance thing up again with like Eon in the show towards the end, almost, like sort of, but like, I don't know. Like I still get like queer coded vibes off of her. Glumshanks, especially with how he just like keeps going back to Chaos, which I think part of it in the TV show is that he like really wants to see Chaos do the right thing and become a good guy, but also there's never really any motivation as to like why he specifically would want that, because like he's like the butler and like he technically could leave,
Wasn't there the point where he stated that he wanted to be Chaos's dad?
Huh.
Oh yeah, like there's that part.
So I interpret that as he wants to. He sees himself as a caretaker for Chaos. I see him as potentially having feelings for Chaos's mom, and he just wants to see his what would be then his child, his ward, be the best he can be.
Yeah, like I can also see that, because there's that part where they're going through like, I don't know, it was like a file or like family pictures or something, and like there was something in there where it was like Glumshanks thought that he was like Chaos's father for a bit. But he was like also confused because he was like, how did this happen? He was like, I don't remember that part.
Knocked back a few too many that night, did he?
Too much suction eel flavored soda.
Yep.
So yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. So it's like, yeah, you know what? Like maybe it's more so just like Glumshanks from the games, because there's also, there's also that whole part in like Superchargers where like Chaos fires Glumshanks, and then like he has to like have like imaginary Glumshanks.
Oh yeah.
But I see that as more of a codependency thing than an LGBT thing. It's that Chaos has only really had one person he could rely on his entire life, and so when that went sour and he fired him, he had nothing to fall back on. Without that one person to support him, he's got nothing.
I don't know. I still see it as a gay codependency thing, but that's just me.
Yeah, like I mean, I could kind of see it going either way.
Pop Fizz, whatever's going on with Pop Fizz, he's just trigger happy but fruity. He's experimental. He's making potions to make people like him, but they turn him into a wild creature, like a wild party animal. Like, something about that. Maybe that's just me reading into it too much and me relating to him too much.
So
something about that.
What I'm hearing is they've created a character exactly how gender critical people see trans women.
Huh. I wasn't even thinking about the trans women part.
Interesting.
I was thinking more like a gay guy part, like a fun and fancy gay guy.
Yeah, like flamboyant a little bit. Yeah.
See, I never got any vibes off of Pop Fizz. But yeah, the way that you just described him is exactly the way that gender critical people perceive trans women. You know, they drink their potion or, you know, take their hormones and they become this monster.
Yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's why I got the vibe.
Oh my gosh. So Ditto bringing up TERFs here. Oh my.
I mean, I have to deal with them, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're also getting so much more media attention nowadays.
Oh,
Yep.
Like J.K. Rowling.
There is a point that I've started to notice that I would like to bring up when it comes to, you know, the coding and the representation here. And I started to realize this. I was having a discussion with another creator about queer-coded characters by Square Enix, like Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, etc. And ignoring things that are just obvious stereotypes that would give you that vibe. Like, I don't want to go into any Final Fantasy examples, but like just a character being flamboyant isn't enough to code them as like gay. I have noticed that between that conversation and then coming over here to queer coding in Skylanders has, I believe, upwards of 150 unique male characters, I believe. That's not, no variants, none of that. Just, I believe there's about 150 or more male characters, and yet none of them are coded as just gay male.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd really have to reach in order to get that vibe.
Right.
Which is what I'm doing.
I'm starting to notice this across just a large number of franchises, that gay males are seemingly underrepresented by comparison to a lot of the other queer codings.
Yeah, and I mean, that's also the same across, I think, a lot of media. Not just, like, video games, but it's just, like, everywhere. Where it's, like, almost nowadays, if you see any kind of, like, gay representation, like, actually depicted, it's almost always, like, it's almost always, like, a lesbian, like, relationship.
Right.
From what I'm seeing. Yeah.
And the closest you come to being gay male coded is you've got a character who dresses flamboyantly and maybe talks in a slightly higher pitch. But that's not enough to actually make a character gay outside of just stereotyping.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I think it's harder for people to, like, objectify gay men like they do lesbians in media, which might be why they don't lean so much into making gay men.
Yeah, which is, like, a whole bag of worms in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just because, yeah, there's a whole lot of issues with, like, how men view lesbians in our society still, like, a whole lot, so...
Whoopsie-doopsie.
Yeah, it's not good.
So I just felt like that was a point that needed to be brought up because it's something I've started to notice.
Yeah, like, no, I think that's true, because, like, with like, Pop Fizz or with, like, Glumshanks, like, you're viewing them completely, in a completely different way, while we're, like, not. Like, we're viewing them as, like, queer-coded, and yeah, you're right, like, that does kind of open it up to an even larger question and larger discussion of, like, if we're having to stretch for the male characters a little bit more, and, like, if we're also, like, not seeing, like, gay-coded, like, male characters in other franchises, too.
Right.
It is like why is that? Like, why are we not seeing more of that representation? And I think that is a problem as a whole with, like, the way that, like, the stereotypical, like, strong, non-emotional, like, man in our society, you know, like, I think it's a problem with that, where it's like, we can't show men having emotions, like, you know, especially towards each other.
That's a women's thing.
Yeah, like, that, I think it ties to that, and it's, like, an even larger issue.
It is, especially when you look at the fact that, like I pointed out, there are approximately 150 male characters, and there are about 38 that are female, and y'all were able to just list off 6 to 8 lesbian coded female characters.
Right, yeah.
Whereas
meanwhile,
we've got two male characters where,
and those are a stretch.
Yeah.
I was about to say where we're stretching to get them there. So proportionally, this is a major issue.
It is. That is totally true.
So, well, I've stated before, you know, I would have loved to have seen the ratio of male to female Skylanders be better. I also would have liked to have seen more queer-coded male characters, or male-leaning characters, rather, and especially a couple of gay ones, because then, then the representation is all there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gay
that's
and
true.
not treated as jokes.
Right.
I
That's true.
know that, like, we mentioned Jet-Vac earlier, and I'm pretty sure, like, that was more like a bird laying eggs joke type thing, but I'd love to see it treated, like, in earnest.
Would agree that it was a joke, except that it wasn't a one-off thing. It
Yeah.
became an ongoing part of the series.
Yeah, and there's even that episode where he like thinks he lays an egg and then it hatches, but it turns out to be a greeble. But yeah, like there's
Like,
that
he even
whole,
has
like...
this, like, his room is surrounded by just eggs he's laid.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was an ongoing. This became just a normalized thing for Jet-Vac. Had it been just the one time, I would have been like, all right, this was a joke. But it became a constant, and any joke used that much was never funny to begin with. Even better is that he refers to them at one point as his shame eggs, I believe.
Ooh.
Which
Yeah,
just
I think he
lends
does.
everything to dysphoria right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I do believe you're right there. Yeah, no, I think like Jet-Vac is definitely like our best contender here for like, I mean, like he pretty much is like confirmed, like like we're having to stretch with like Glumshanks and Pop Fizz here, but yeah, Jet-Vac, yeah, definitely like queer. Jet-Vac is just like a pillar of everything. So I think we're going to go ahead and end it there, but be sure to let us know in the comments who you think is a queer-coded Skylander, or if you have thoughts on like the depiction of like gay male characters in media, anything pertaining to that, and where can people find you, Ditto?
Alright, so I go live on Twitch, twitch.tv/GFDitto, 6 nights a week, 8 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm also available on YouTube, on Twitter, and in Discord.
Yeah. And you do occasionally do some Skylanders content, and of course you're also the co-host of Skylanders Portalcasters with me, where that's on YouTube and Spotify.
Yes.
And Saint Lesbian, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch and Twitter, both under the name Saint Lesbian. I stream twice a week, Tuesdays, Saturdays, at 7:30 Eastern time each time, playing video games, drawing things, whatever. You can find me on those two platforms. If you find me on any other platform, don't bother interacting with me.
All right, so I think with that's going to go ahead and end this discussion video. So thanks everyone for listening, and hope to see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.